Let the cynicism flow. We thought things could be nice in this league again, but the Buccaneers and their conjuring of souls would not allow it. And with being a championship team, they get certain perks. Such as, I don't know, having the entire 22 men who started last year back for another go-around. Not to mention an infusion of rookies like Joe Tryon and Kyle Trask. Nothing matters in this world anymore. Tom Brady will somehow go back in time by 20 years and play until he's 75 because God hates us all. We are fucked. May we pray to our new overlords in Tampa Bay. May they be merciful in their slaughter and benevolent in their rule. The NFC is pretty tight in a lot of aspects. A logical person would just sit back and let it all develop, but I'm an impulsive bastard. I need to make shitty predictions that backfire quickly. The NFC East will surprisingly not change hands again, and it will be Washington that pulls it out. The NFC North is still Packers territory, however. The NFC South, I hate to say it, but Brady and the Buccaneers have it on lockdown. The NFC West, though? That's tough, but I'll have to say San Francisco bounces back if they're healthy. For the wildcards, I'm rolling with Seattle, New Orleans, and the Rams. Once again, many teams can be considered for these 3 slots. With that being said, I should shut the hell up. It's time for some fucking football. This is the daily reminder that Antonio Brown is a Super Bowl champion. As I slowly die on the inside, this also reminds us that Tom Brady led another team to a Super Bowl in New England and pretends it's theirs. This game was as expected for teams starting the year with limited game reps. Sloppy. Tampa Bay could hold on to the goddamn ball, this would have been far more decisive. But they either wanted to keep it close for the ratings or allow the bookies to make bank by not covering the spread. For all the fears, Dak looks solid for coming off a major injury. Shoulder issues? What shoulder issues? His arm was fine enough for me. With the Buccaneers yearning to let their opponent in the game, the unthinkable happened late in the 4th quarter. The Cowboys had the lead. God help us all. Even then, Dallas, you unfortunately ran into a problem many teams facing Brady do. You gave him too much time. Phew, that was a heck of a game, wasn't it? This calls for an officially licensed NFL jacket. We got Roger Goodell's son to sponsor it. And it's all for the low price of $250. Hurry and make your purchase right away before we have to sell it for $50 in the fire sale. Please buy our merchandise. Do not resist the great evil of Tampa Bay. There will be no mercy for treasonous cowards. Atlanta can try all they want to win the battles of the day, but the Buccaneers are too strong in the arts of black magic. Their demons will overtake all the forces of good. Tom Brady and his sorcery will conjure the most vile of creatures to secure quality points. And when all else fails, team defense will consume Matt Ryan's soul by a litany of pick sixes. Do not attempt to rebel. All dissenters will be shot or worse. The only thing that bleeds into the minds of their opponents are Tampa Bay Red. It's the last image they see before they die. Tom Brady needs to feed on their young to remain immortal. That's the real TB12 plan. They just don't mention that in the brochure. The Rams have had success early on, but they need to make a statement. There are still questions about the team despite their talent. Their first true test comes here against the defending Super Bowl champs. Tampa Bay is bringing both their winning core and the bandwagon fans that cling along for the ride. Even for their strengths, the Bucs have a glaring weakness. Their young secondary. It's mercurial. The Rams did pay a premium to get a QB that can sky the ball. It took a little bit to get the engines warmed up, but when that baby was purring, the connections were perfect. Matthew Stafford has a confidence never seen before in his career. It just feels like a different aura this time around. His gunslinging talents are so great that Tom Brady can't keep up in tandem. LA accomplished their main goal. They have their statement win. If they look this good against quality competition early on, who knows what their true upside could be. Don't mind me, I'll just be in the corner seething in St. Louis. Did you guys know that Tom Brady is returning to Foxboro this week? I don't think the media is reporting enough on this fantastic occasion. The duo that made us all dread the Shield reuniting for forced counseling sessions. You can just feel the awkward sexual tension between Belichick and Brady. They want to go at each other again, just like old times. But Brady is with another sugar daddy, and Belichick's chasing after younger tail. It wouldn't work. Neither would this game. A combination of the weather and overhype made this game as ugly to watch as Bill Belichick in a prom dress. Hey, I had to visualize that shit, you have to as well. No, Steven, don't expose your perversions in public, you sick fuck. You want to be a degenerate, choke out the Buccaneers offense. Even though that's not much of a challenge in these conditions, it's a very close game into the 4th. You could almost say Belichickian. That may not even be a word, but who fucking cares? Tom Brady broke the passing yard record that probably won't be broken for a few years. You know what could be broken, though? This lead that Tampa Bay gained on a field goal in crunch time. Speaking of reminiscing, do you remember when the Bucs always missed critical field goals to hilarious consequences? Wasn't one of those kickers Nick Folk?
On its way, it is off the goalpost. No good, you can hear the doink.
I didn't even have to add the ding in there. That was a majestic doink. Cody Parkey is now crying somewhere in a flight back to Cleveland after hearing that word uttered from a man's lips. It all worked out in the end. Tampa Bay wins. Patriots fans are pissed because they're entitled shits, and Brady and Belichick had make-up sex in the locker room after the game. No wonder why those two didn't want to talk about it after the fact. Sorry, Miami, but your brutally disappointing season isn't getting any easier. You get Tampa Bay, and the relentless immortality of Tom Brady piercing the heart of your team defense. Wasn't this defense supposed to be good or something? Or am I thinking of something else? Because it's as if Miami is back to tanking again. The Buccaneers used this as a rehearsal game as they utterly routed their opponent in nearly every facet. Bonus points to Jacoby Brissett for toughing it out with injury, but good lord, Dolphins! Do something! Don't just let Tampa Bay do this shit for you! Where's the overachieving spirit you had last year? Don't tell me you're just gunning for another top draft pick again. Wait a minute. Doesn't Philadelphia have their first round pick this year? Oh, fuck. We seem to have had only one good Thursday night game a month ago. That's the only positive fortune we get. Otherwise, the media will do nothing but suck Tom Brady's dick as he beats the shit out of a team he should beat the shit out of. He did not forget the scars of Matt Patricia's terrible defense undoing him in that Super Bowl. It burns in his heart, and he treated the Eagles like one of his horrific torture victims. Brady is the Inquisition and Jalen Hurts is the poor bastard who won't convert. Philly itself is so broken that they cheer running the ball. Their play calling is that useless. They use this momentum to rally, but they fail to realize that the NFL hates defenses. This man stared lovingly into Leonard Fournette's eyes as Fournette deliberately bumped into him. That's taunting on the Eagles! Get this emotion out of my league! Brady needs to win! Tough shit, Philly. You sucked, but you'll probably have 3 top 10 picks next year. It's not if Howie Roseman fucks it up. It's how. Matt Nagy and the Chicago Bears saw how fast the Jets had destroyed Zach Wilson and need to keep pace if they want to break records. I wasn't a fan of Justin Fields coming out of college, but the Bears have done him no favors whatsoever. It's one thing to force him to play teams he's not ready to go against, but they're not even trying to cater to his strengths. They're trying to force him into the same pigeonhole as they did Dalton, Foles, and Trubisky. With every bad line protection to rushed passes to giving him fucking misinformation about the opposing team, they destroy his confidence. Tampa Bay secondary is fucked to hell and back with injuries, and they still had a field day against this worthless offense. Tom Brady just had to sit there and scratch his ass most of the game, and collect his 600th career touchdown in the process. That's how ugly this game got. Fields is now realizing a cold truth. The Bears are where quarterbacks go to die, and he's the next victim. New Orleans is one of the most inconsistent teams in the NFL this season. Whenever you think you can properly assess what they are, they invert every single thing for shits and giggles. Against Tampa Bay, the class of the division, you'd expect an easy loss, especially considering famous Jameis's patented food truck broke down outside Drago's. And with Taysom Hill still out, their quarterback now is... Hold on, I actually have to look this up. Trevor Siemian? That guy's still in the NFL? Do they really stand a chance anymore? Let's turn this over to an expert scholar in the art of goatology, Barry McCockiner.
Did you know that Tom Brady is 44 years old? If that isn't impressive enough for you, next year he'll be 45. Let's check out his legendary performance versus New Orleans. Here, Brady throws the ball at least 5 yards to a super tightly covered Chris Godwin. Holy fuck, that's so impressive. If you listen closely, you can hear Brady say, "Get down the field, you stupid bitch!" Brady's first touchdown of the day was orgasmic as he fired an almost impossible 5-yard pass to Chris Godwin, who was then willed into the end zone by Brady's word is on Mike Evans for only being 6'5" instead of 7'5". You might not know that New Orleans has a serious earthworm infestation, so Brady took it upon himself to help out by killing a couple of them with this beautiful throw into the ground. Man, look at Brady's toughness. He takes what is possibly the hardest hit in NFL history here. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to hold on to the ball, but you can't blame him, really. This is 100% on Chris Godwin for not using instant transmission to teleport in front of the defender before the ball got there. In my opinion, this interception should not count. Here we see Brady, under super heavy duress, Bucs fire the ball 3 yards to Godwin before Brady uses telekinesis to force the defender off Godwin, who then runs 40 yards after the catch. No other quarterback besides Brady can do this, folks. Appreciate it. This touchdown pass made me ruin a new pair of underwear. Brady fired a bullet, no offense to Alec Baldwin, to this super tightly covered running back, who Brady then wheeled into the end zone. Name one other quarterback who can make this throw. Oh wait, you can't. This is the most impressive touchdown pass in NFL history. If you look up the definition of threading the needle, this is it. I still have no idea how Brady fit this ball in there. He's 44 years old, have I mentioned that? The moment New Orleans went up 2 with 1:41 left, everybody expected Tom Brady to lead a game-clinching drive, and that's exactly what he did, throwing a beautiful touchdown pass to put the game out of reach. The most impressive part, though, was Brady's incredible leadership, as you can see in this screenshot. It's important to remember that it's completely natural for a quarterback to be throwing harder and moving around better at 44 than they did at 24. What a hero he is.
Washington is such an aggravating franchise. Everything's going to shit, yet what is their response? Cutting their kicker for the wildly inaccurate Joey Sly and making them practice during their bye week. I have no idea what Riverboat Ron is thinking, but his actions somehow worked. Ideally, Tampa Bay would walk into FedEx and crush a job squad that's going to be without the wonderful Fitzception as he's fallen into a quantum warp. This is, however, not taking into account the Bucs' injuries at wideout and a defense devastated by a plague in the infirmary. The ultimate equalizer. Tom Brady looked quite mortal today. Some could say it's due to him not having his usual weapons. Some argue it's the reskinned defense finally playing up to potential. Whatever the case, the football team, one of perpetually half-full stadiums, Chase Young's season being finished and Dan Snyder still being tone-deaf, did what seems to be a weekly occurrence these days and allowed sportsbooks across America to reap the benefits of another upset win. With Heineke under center, Washington gets the revenge for the wildcard game. Now, only if this had happened last January, we may have been saved from Tampa's might. Wherever he goes around New York City and MetLife Stadium, John Mara should be relentlessly taunted for how useless he is as a human being. The only strength he has is coasting on Granddaddy's reputation. His Giants are an extension of his futility. Tampa Bay is their opponent in name only. Saying that word would mean that the Bucs experienced any sort of challenge. The New York Giants are the tutorial level. They are there to help you build your confidence in the control scheme and hand you opportunities to succeed. It should be a surprise to no one that Tampa Bay manhandled a team that endlessly derped themselves to death. The Buccaneers had their token terrible loss for the season the week before, and it's usually their trend to kick their next opponent's ass. And guess who that was? At this point, I'm expecting Mara to pull what AB's former chef did and accuse people of faking their Vax cards. It would make sense since he's not one to look in the mirror. Both teams are looking to maintain form. Tampa Bay dispatched a cupcake and want to defeat a formidable opponent. Indianapolis just ran over a true contender and now want to take out another one. It's a shame that the Buccaneers defense is really good against the run. Jonathan Taylor couldn't do much, but that won't stop Indy from fighting for everything in their life. The Colts know the stakes at hand, and another loss, no matter how hard fought, won't shake the doubters. They respond quickly with an authoritative lead, but Tom Brady has seen this opponent before. He mastered their vile magic while he was fighting against them in New England. The Bucs just have to bide their time and wait for the Colts to make mistakes, which they do. And Brady will exercise his right to an unfair trial and declare Indianapolis guilty of hampering his quest for Lombardi number 8. Tampa Bay has willed themselves to a 7-point lead, but look to the light of Wentz. He still has some of his holy powers from Philadelphia, you know. He has re-blessed Jonathan Taylor with the charge of the bull. His rushing prowess ties the game, but as I said, Tom Brady is good at mimicking their cheap spells. He used the same charm with Leonard Fournette. Do you remember when Jacksonville said he was a cancer and cut him? I think the 4 touchdowns he had on the game will make Tom Coughlin want to find him for culture issues again. Once again, Indy tried their damnedest on an excellent kick return, but it was not enough in the end. Tampa was just the better team. I won't shit on them, though. It was a well-played contest, and Indy has shown they are a team to be feared. They will not lie down. And with how wide open the AFC is, they can drag it along to hell with them. You can never leave the spotlight, can you, Antonio Brown? Whenever things get quiet or I stop being triggered over you being a Super Bowl champion, there's more bullshit to add to the pile. This time, it involves a former chef of his that, shocker, was never paid for services performed. Being owed around $10,000, he played his one gambit in trying to secure what's due. He revealed that AB's lying about his vaccination status. He was given a fake vax card from teammates. Tampa Bay denied that it was fraudulent and that the team was fully vaccinated, but what the hell do you think happened? The NFL investigation concluded that AB, Mike Edwards, and free agent John Franklin all forged their vaccination status, and all three have been suspended for 3 games as a result. They say they're now vaccinated, and I know the comparison is going to be made to Aaron Rodgers, but there's a big difference. The NFL and the Packers organization knew that Rodgers wasn't vaccinated by their standards. AB, Edwards, and Franklin had all lied to the NFL and the Bucs about their status. And that makes them clear-cut lolcows of the week to me. Never fuck with the NFL. They'll arbitrarily come down hard on people if you do. Atlanta, I'm sorry, but you're supposed to bow down to Tom Brady and his greatness. I don't care that you still have flashbacks about that moment, and I don't care that you're still on the playoff hunt. You're going up against Tampa Bay. Look, boys, I want you to know that them beating you today is nothing personal. It's just that the Falcons are a team on the decline, and you have no way of covering Chris Godwin or Rob Gronkowski. Don't worry, we'll make it look competitive. Atlanta will be allowed to fight and claw into making this a competitive game, even if it somehow makes Tom Brady look terrible thanks to a bad read. How's this for a storyline? The Falcons are only down by 3 charging into the third quarter, but fumble the ball away as they're entering Bucs territory. At that point, the Falcons' offense is able to do nothing. One piece or play away from making a statement, yet Tampa Bay is always a step ahead of them. Don't feel too terribly, Atlanta. The Buccaneers have won 3 in a row now. You might be allowed to win next time, boys. You are playing Carolina next, and they did just fire their once hotshot offensive coordinator. Buffalo is hitting the point of their season when they realize that perhaps the Bills were vastly overrated before the year. There are plenty of things to point the finger at, but they forgot the golden rule of business. Never get high off your own supply. They chose to sit on their palms and do nothing to address the issues on the team this past offseason, and they're paying for it now. At this point, their running game is Josh Allen, followed by Josh Allen, and even more Josh Allen. Their interior line and probably their tackles as well are pretty terrible. All of this combined with a defense that can't hold the raging waters of Brady have the Buccaneers with a commanding 24-3 lead at halftime. What Buffalo needs is a miracle. What Buffalo needs is Josh Allen. They need his 2020 prowess back in a bad way. But the NFL can't let the Bills upset the precious balance of power in the NFC. Not that Josh Allen gives a shit, he'll carry the team as far as he possibly can. This includes undoing that precious Buccaneer offense showcased most weeks. The winds are changing. Bills Mafia is coming back. And they desperately need this one not to be a crab falling back into the AFC bucket. You silly bastards, did you seriously expect to beat Tom Brady? This man has owned you so hard over the years that he lays claim to about 70% of the real estate in your damn city. You can march down the field with less than 2 minutes left, but you won't be able to push it to the end zone. Sure, go ahead, send it to overtime. Receive the kick even, it won't delay the inevitable. Brady's coming back home and he's been slugging beers at the local bar. He's got allegations of ref ball on his side and had a big day at the races. I don't even have to consider this a rising action. We all know what's going to happen.
All year, and here he is on 3rd and 3 from the pocket. Connecting. That's Perriman taking it all the way for the win.
A devastating dagger thanks to the usual bully. And a nice gift to his old hubby Bill Belichick to continue to hold the AFC East. Thank God the Bills are playing Carolina next week. You aren't gonna somehow blow a game against that cupcake, are you? You aren't gonna fuck it up, right? We can all agree this year has been insanely fucked for the NFL. Most games like the last one we recap feel like they're on some kind of drug cocktail. It's exhausting to follow this league some weeks. The only benefit is in memes fresh out of the oven. You thought it couldn't get worse. An old friend has reemerged onto the scene. Corona-chan is back from her lengthy vacation and wreaking havoc on every sports league throughout America. The NFL has felt her wrath hard. You may have noticed all the coughing last week. It was for good reason. Over 150 cases in the league over a 5-day span. It's not Pokemon to catch. Coronavirus is running a train throughout multiple organizations. Cleveland and the Rams have over 25 players in COVID protocol. Washington has over 20. Other teams like the Bears, Texans, and Lions are getting wrecked as well. 8 teams are in enhanced COVID protocols. This is the worst case scenario we were fearing last season. And we're seeing it happen in front of our eyes. The NFLPA pleaded with the league for games to be postponed, but of course they waited until the last moment. In a shocker, the Shield cared more about game integrity than cold hard cash. The Saturday Browns and Raiders tilt has been pushed to Monday. Seahawks versus Rams and Reskins versus Eagles have been rescheduled for Tuesday. We have it again in doubleheader form, boys! Tuesday Night Football! Any chance we can get a Wednesday night game? For all the glorious memes? This was apparently a game that was played. And it was a game that bordered on greatness. If there's one thing that's been consistent over the past few years, it's how New Orleans makes Tampa Bay into its bitch in the regular season. The playoffs they don't talk about. But what they do is taking a once potent offense and turning it into a potato. Throughout the land, we hear every hater cheer in unison. For Tom Brady is being mauled by a pack of wild boars known as the Saints defense. With their espionage, we have figured out the blueprint to stopping this menace. All you have to do is injure nearly every good wideout on the roster, double team Gronk, and beat the shit out of Brady in the pocket. Why the hell didn't we think of that earlier? New Orleans may still be reeling on the offensive side of the ball, but their defense is playing some of the best I've seen out of them all season. Show of hands, who expected Tampa Bay to get shut out in this one? Yeah, put him down. Nobody did except maybe Drew Brees. The final score lies. It was domination. And the Saints get much needed breathing space in a season full of twists and turns. Tom Brady celebrated one of his worst performances with the Bucs by viciously assaulting an iPad on the sideline. It was the most accurate ball he threw on the night, and also somehow dropped by the receiver. The Carolina Panthers. I once thought this team was on the right track on their rebuild. Oh, how innocent of a time the 2020 season was for us. We never got to see Matt Rule in his true element. One of not knowing what the hell he's doing in any facet. The dude treats quarterbacks like Mike Keenan treated goaltenders back in the day. Constantly pulled and rotated without rhyme or reason. Cam Newton's going to be starting today, but Sam Darnold's going to be getting reps. When Cam fucks up, Sam's going in. Except when Cam is sent onto the field for random running plays. Minus the times when Darnold runs them, but Newton's throwing the ball too, and I literally don't know what the fuck's going on. How did he thrive at Temple and Baylor with this kind of bullshit? The offense is so fucked that his defense, whatever's left of it, is completely broken. Tampa Bay is taking full advantage of their dysfunction. And by merely existing, they're guided to a win so easy you'd think it was a kid's game. Considering Carolina's difficulty in the basics like offensive play calling and peeing in the toilet, that's not hard to do. This reign has become a disaster quickly. I wonder if the Panthers pull the trigger on firing people this early on. Also, no shocker to anyone in attendance, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have secured the NFC South. Yes, it's very shocking. Tom Brady's coming to his second home. One of his favorite pastimes has been walking into MetLife and defecating at midfield. Think Aaron Rodgers owns Chicago? Tom Brady could run for governor of New York and have a good chance of winning. Tampa Bay should be woken up sometime soon. They're looking pretty damn sluggish to start. Is beating their opponent really this hard to do? All the Jets have is a young roster and 10,000 reasons to play hard for a new contract. It's not like they have much of anything else, but I will give them credit. They're playing quality football. New York's doing what they need to do to win. Well, they're even up by 14 in the second half. All they have to do is finish them off and they'll be American heroes. I hate to inform you that we all bet on the wrong horse. The Buccaneers, like many times in Tom Brady's career, chip away at that allegedly insurmountable lead to make it more manageable. We can talk about how the Jets are charging forward, about how they can seal the deal, but narratives don't exist without evidence. What the hell do you think happened? They shit the bed on a fourth down conversion and gave Tom Brady a chance to fulfill another goddamn narrative. One that's been hated by most of the NFL world for decades.
Catch made to the end zone. Cyril Grayson.
Big shock, Brady pulled out another goddamn miracle because he shits on the Jets like his morning dump. Le'Veon Bell, of all people, gets his revenge against the team that cut him. These are the only important things that happened in this game. Nothing else occurred. Nothing whatsoever. I am in no way going to talk about how Antonio Brown is an irreparable cancer and possibly dealing with undiagnosed CTE. I was told by Bruce Arians that this guy had turned a new leaf. We couldn't have predicted this would happen because of some fake vax cards? No. AB was on his last leash and he somehow fucked a situation that was all but foolproof. In the third quarter, Bruce Arians told Antonio Brown to go into the game despite an ankle injury he apparently told no one about. Little did Bruce know that he ruptured him like Arians did his Achilles. The diva needs to take center stage. With half a second of thoughtful consideration of the fans and his teammates, he removed his uniform on the sidelines and showed the world his fantastically big chest. AB's a cancer walking down the field. He's at the 2, the 1, touchdown, end of his NFL career. He's pumping up the crowd, celebrating with the ultimate end zone dance as he rides off into the sunset. Johnny Rotten said it best, it's better to burn out than to fade away. Antonio Brown embraces this thinking as his Bucs tenure is over. I know MetLife Stadium is a shithole and he's being shadowed by a TikTok influencer, but this is quite the way to go out. From a potential gold jacket to needing nothing but a stray jacket. AB is going to be a cautionary tale about ego and self-destruction for a long time. He's not only Lolcow of the Week for this week, he's retroactively Lolcow of the Week for last week as well. Seriously, man. Get some fucking help. Only place this dude belongs is in a psych ward. Unfortunately for Carolina, I do not have good news to share with you this week. First of all, Matt Rule will be staying put as head coach, thus continuing his self-made comparisons to Jay-Z for another year. Thank you, enormous fucking contract. Secondly, Tampa Bay still has positioning to play for, so you'll be receiving no sort of mercy whatsoever. Sam Darnold, if you're lucky, will be making his last career start for the Panthers after this debacle of a season. You know, I really thought he could turn it around after being out-engaged with the Jets. It unfortunately was not the case due to a litany of self-inflicted errors. Plus the fact that the Buccaneers are pretty damn good and need to win for playoff seeding. Tom Brady solidifies his claim to being an immortal deity by leading the goddamn NFL in passing yards and touchdowns. I sense jealousy's brewing. I expect Carolina to get really desperate and throw everything for Deshaun Watson or something. It's the only way they can justify Matt Rule's contract. Although it's not like Tampa has their own troubles brewing. If Antonio Brown's mission was to burn every goddamn bridge he's ever come across and ruin his career, then it's been accomplished. His self-destruction is a generational talent, and the petty Yinzer in me is merely saying, I fucking told you so. He was officially cut from the Bucs on Thursday, and ever since then he's been going scorched earth. I'm not saying Tampa Bay is completely innocent here. There are instances where a team completely fucks over a player that's injured, but this doesn't feel like it's it. Riddle me this, Batman. If an ankle injury is so severe, why the hell are you making these incredible cuts on the field? Why aren't you telling anyone on the training staff about it? The organization set up appointments with New York-based doctors so you wouldn't only get the surgery you needed, but get paid what you were owed. Knowing AB, this isn't about the ankle, but it's about not getting the ball enough. Big shock, that's what it probably was about. It was the final straw for Arians. And they told him to fuck off from the field. Now we know that part wasn't Antonio, but the rest of it was him. Even violating COVID protocol by fucking a chick who licked toilets and telling her to, quote, watch what I do tomorrow. What I don't get is him shitting all over the Bucs organization and Tom Brady in interviews. Dude thought this text convo put Brady's trainer Alex Guerrero in a bad light. And AB ended up posting his bank account information on accident. Bitch, are you for real? You became such cancer that nobody wanted to touch you after what you did in Oakland. Tom Brady was the only reason you got this gig in the first place. And he's out here bitching about not being paid enough? Are you really this dense, man? What happened to the over $30 million guaranteed from the Raiders you pissed away? How about the $1 million in bonuses you just sabotaged? You're incinerating dollars while whining about pennies. Fucking goddamn idiot's about to make himself bankrupt in 5 years. For what? Petty retribution? Blatant narcissism? Something more morbid? I hate talking about this shit. This has been a season. So many twists and turns that it's hard to conceive with the naked eye. If you were looking at this year seriously, it was absolutely exhausting. But do you know the true bounty to cherish? The memes. It was fucking gold for this economy. Thanks to incredible collapses, fantastic comebacks, Urban Meyer's coaching tenure, and whatever the fuck Antonio Brown did in the Jets game. If the bigger games are going to be as fucked as the regular season is, I expect plenty of shenanigans to come in the future. Get ready. The NFL playoffs are about to begin. Defending champions still have a bit to prove in their title defense. Tom Brady continues to defy Father Time's will with a combination of stretching, pyramid schemes, and the molding of his haters. Remember that every single starter of last year's Lombardi winner came back for another shot at greatness. However, there are a few open sores this time around. The wide receiver position is worn thin. We still have Gronk and Mike Evans, but Chris Godwin's out with injury and Antonio Brown did this. Cancer gonna cancer. Pittsburgh and Oakland send their regards. As for their defense, more injuries. They're getting a few players back against the Eagles, but the secondary has been a point of concern. Mostly because it's been shredded by the injury bug. Richard Sherman in his old man strength was brought in to help, yet he fell victim to the dreaded IR as well. If they're going to repeat as champions, they'll need Brady to continue to flick a double bird at age itself. We keep waiting for him to fall off and he hasn't yet. The year is 2035. The world is now fucked due to endless nuclear wars. Somewhere in an underground bunker, Tom Brady wins another Super Bowl ring at age 58. Is he dead? I'm not getting out of my bunker until the body has been disintegrated and its spirit has been banished to an endless void. We've tried celebrating this before, but he would somehow revive and pull out insane bullshit to keep his magic alive. The Bucs merely lulled everyone into a false sense of security with their shitty first half. The Rams really thought they beat him by going up 27-3. We all did. We were popping the champagne. The world was in joy, but we failed to realize that was just the first part of the boss. We barely made him bleed. Cue so much incredible fluke bullshit going Tampa's way that the contest is getting closer. Can Cam Akers and company please stop fumbling the fucking ball? You had Tampa Bay dead to rights, and your choking has near single-handedly allowed the Bucs to come back into the game. Worse, they're allowed to tie because LA's defense is too exhausted to contest them. As we're all about to burn LA to the ground, Stafford and Kupp bail out their team's incompetence because the Bucs secondary has a pronounced limp. We defeated the true final boss. Thank fuck. Please, for the love of every single holy deity out there, let the rumors of Tom Brady's spirit dissipating be true. The football world can't take any more of the media constantly reminding us he's 44.
He's gone. He's finally gone. There really is a God. We're free. We're free!
The greatest player to ever play in this league has been vanquished. He never declined in production, so he just said fuck it and left at the top of his game. Dude flexed on Adam Schefter and Barry McCockiner before he left too. The fucking legend. He has some mean powers in him after all. Enjoy retirement, Tom. Just don't come anywhere near Pittsburgh. It'll bring back too many bad memories.